Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer and welcome back to Train Sim World. And this is the fourth piece of our puzzle. This is the Northeast Corridor DLC. I got this about an hour ago. It is about 2300 where I am. So it's a little bit late, but I'm kind of keyed up. Had some coffee earlier today and it stays with me. I'm one of those people. Haven't done anything yet. Did the tutorials, haven't done any scenarios. Let's do a scenario. And let's do this one because it's a little bit longer, but it's not. And these are longer, but they're almost too long. So let's do city lights. And I started from out here because every time I start the recording from further ahead, I end up cutting off when they tell us what our instructions are for the mission. The mission. I say mission. Scenario. Right. So yeah, this is... Oh, here we go. Okay, is it not going to read? Welcome to New Rochelle. Today you'll be running a southbound service into the terminus at New York Penn. Now, I have messed with a bunch of settings. If you recall from our last video, I was crying the blues about those great big markers all over and saying it sort of takes me out of, well, small space on the desk for a big mouse. It sort of takes me out of the immersion when I can see those big markers everywhere. And sure enough, in the options there is a way to disable some of them, or all of them, or none of them. And I'm wondering now if I haven't turned off the voiceover. Or maybe there just isn't one. But, at any rate, I have disabled some of those markers on the track and moved them to the HUD. The reason I moved them to the HUD instead of turning them off completely is I don't know the light codes well enough to know what everything means. So if we, let me see, unlock left, right. So over here on the right side of the HUD, this is what I'm talking about, speed limit and signals. Well, for one thing, I don't know the code well enough. I don't know what all those lights and signs mean yet. And the other thing is, when I'm in my apartment, I have my big monitor, I can see better. But as it is right now, I really can't see some of these things as they pass. Lock doors. Lock doors. Ready to depart. Set the automatic brake to release. I can do that. New York Penn. Okay, we're just making a run. Okay. Here we go. Get some ditch lights on. And headlights are on. What's the speed limit here? Oh, we can go a little loosey-goosey. Let's see how we look outside. Man, what a good-looking game. Well, as long as it doesn't do that. There we go. Let me try again. All right. Man, what a good-looking game. Just totally pleased with these graphics. And I've got, this is the one running on, this is running on Unreal or Madness? Didn't we just cover this? I can't remember and I don't want to look it up. But you know what? I will anyway. Alright. I'm going to back my throttle off a little bit. Yep, it is, it's Unreal 4. Okay, cool. Couldn't remember if it was Unreal or Madness. Yeah, good looking game. I know people... Turn this bell off. Thank you. I know people have some FPS issues, and it's funny for me because I tend to have FPS issues all the time. Like, my system struggles with so many games, even games that really aren't the sort of typical, eye candy games that really make your system cry. It does take me a while to get my settings dialed so I can have any kind of decent frame rate, but it seems like this game from the jump has been just really really kind to my frame rate. So I'm super happy about that. And while we've got, let me speed up a little bit. I want to turn these lights. Mode, shield heat. I'd like to turn these inside lights down a little bit. Cab heater. Cab light. Oh, I think I found it, but I need to make sure I don't speed. Cab light on off. Desk light, desk and console light off. Right. Now we can speed up again. So yeah, I'm stoked to have all the DLC, and you've heard the story. I've told you. I got CSX Heavy Haul and I was waiting for Train Sim World. Couldn't figure out why they were releasing DLC for CSX, and then finally understood that CSX was the first edition, the first installation of Train Sim World. So when I look at the amount of DLC for Train Simulator 2018, which, granted, that DLC goes back for years, many different iterations of Train Sim World. It's not all for Train Sim World 2018. They didn't release 300 DLC in one calendar year. But what was intimidating about that, daunting about that, was trying to go through it and decide what you want, and it's not just going through and sort of, yes, yes, no, yes, yes, no, that sort of thing, because there are DLC that are very similar, and if you get one, it may mean that you don't need to get another one, which then frees up, right, an opportunity in your budget to get and so it's very dynamic. It's not as simple as, so we've got 25 minutes to go 13 miles, and I'm wondering if they're going to ding us somewhere, if we're going to get caught in traffic. I didn't forget what I was talking about. I'll come back to it. Okay. All right. So I'm happy that I'm sort of out in front of the DLC for Train Sim World, and I feel like now, as each one comes up, I can evaluate it based on what I have, decide whether or not I want to get it and keep it and use it for the future. Does that make sense? What's his name again? I think that makes sense. I think you're getting the talk I'm talking. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it gave me a warning for that, and I just didn't see it. I'm gonna hop back inside. Feeling a little embarrassed right now about this whole speeding thing. We've got to come way down. Right. Okay. Whoa. Foliage. Yep, that's why I brought those inside, was so I didn't brought them into the HUD. I knew I wouldn't be able to read the track signs, and I don't know the code yet. So I brought them into the HUD instead of turning them off. So the only marker we have outside now is the actual marker for our next destination. And I would like to move that one as well, but I can't see a way to move that particular one to the HUD. If there is a way, that would be a goal, because then we wouldn't have any big signs out in the world. Our immersion would be complete. But I can't see a way to move the destination marker or the next destination marker. Is everything released? Are we good to go here? Does it feel like, yeah, we're picking up some speed now. So I can't find a way to move that destination marker to the HUD, but that would be a goal as well, if we could do that. And when we're done, possibly right before we're done, because I think we can still get to the settings menu when we're done. All right, so we've got so we go to 65. Okay. You got me jumping all over with the speed limit. All right. Nope, other way. Wow. There's a lot going on. As far as I feel like there hasn't been any switching yet, but there's been a ton of, the speed limit is just all over the place. Right, oh, and then we're going to drop down again. Okay, well, I guess that makes sense that they're at least giving us, no, it's going to 70, it's not going to 55. Jeezy Pete's. Okay. So we'll stay at 65, and then it's going, no, it is going to 55. It's a little frustrating. Right. I feel like it's playing with my emotions. Okay. But I think it hasn't dinged me yet for speeding, even though we were well over the speed limit for a little while. Or maybe it just didn't give me points for that zone. Don't know. Gonna clear my throat. Be right back. Right. Okay, so we're back to a 60 now. No, 40. Yeah, this is 70. Okay. I don't know if that speed limit is changing based on, like, I don't know what is causing the set speed limit to jump around like that. But it's okay. No, it's 40. That's really disorienting. That's 60. I have no idea. I'll take a look in a forum when we're done here, but that seems it seems impossible to keep up with that. And then 40 and 1.4 miles. Okay, so we slow down a little bit. All right, so we're good there. Yeah, when the speed limit changes that many times in just a few seconds, I'm not sure how to get in front of it. All right. The startup procedure for this is the ACS, I believe, and the startup procedure for this is similar to the cold start procedure for, oh, it's one of the one of the CSX locomotives, in that you have to leave the seat and leave the cab really, and go down a kind of an internal communicating hallway between the two control cabins and do some things down there. I like that sort of detail. I don't find it bothersome or tedious at all. I think it's very, for me, it's very immersive. Alright, we're going to 40, are we? Quite a grade here. Alright. Okay. Right. So it said in 200 yards we were getting to a 40, and now it says we're getting to a 50. I'm waiting to see if it jumps back to a 40. Miles per hour. No, it does not. Okay. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit. I think these worlds are rendered pretty well. I know it's always a trade-off between detail and having a game that will run properly and run fast. And they seem to have found a nice compromise. Although, admittedly, as users, we have a lot of flexibility there as well in terms of how we set the game up and what's important to us. Everyone has different priorities when they set a game up. Some people could care less about anti-aliasing, they just want maximum draw distance, and then somebody else might be exactly the opposite. So it goes. Right. Hop out. A little bridge and tunnel business here. And I'm also going to quickly take a look at the map. So I'm guessing that this is Penn Station. I think this is the river that we're crossing. That makes sense. River, and then it looks like we're going to be, I don't know if it's going to bounce us in and out. Yeah. Hop back in cab. I didn't know if it would let us stay on the other side of those pillars, right? And look at the train through them, but it was trying to bring us inside every time we passed one. Getting a little... The speed limit, man. 60, 55, 40, 55 again. All right. So I guess we're going to be elevated for a while. And maybe that's this right here. We just crossed the river. And now we're crossing some suburbs. And then it looks like we're going to make a turn. We should make a turn and head underground. And that will be us heading into Penn Station. Very cool. I don't know how people in other parts of the world feel about seeing places that they have spent time represented in a simulation. I've spent, I wouldn't say a lot of time, but I've spent a decent amount of time in Penn Station and Union Station in DC and back and forth between the two. So I'm curious to see the platforms. I think I grew up in London. I lived in London when I was a kid with my father, and it was a few years ago. I remember Paddington, I remember St. Pancras, and the tube stops and the way everything was laid out. But when I see it now, it doesn't really do anything for me because it's been, that was never really my place. That was sort of a place that I visited. Even though I lived there, I was still just visiting. And this place, Penn Station, I feel like it's not mine, but I feel much more connected to it than I do to say Paddington. If you can hear me tapping, I'm using my keyboard. 52, so slow down a little bit more. I'm just trying to get a feeling for. We're still 5 miles out, so. Yep, that's a freight yard. And then that's Penn Station. Okay, cool. All right, making sense of it all. So we'll go through the freight yard and then into Penn Station proper, Penn Terminal. Yeah, this is really, I think this is really well done, well represented. A little bit more brake going here. Wow. It looks like, yep, a ton of this track is live track you can interact with. It's not just scenery. What are we doing on time? 8 minutes, 4 miles. But I feel like we're going to be slowing down quite a bit for the final approach. Right. Yeah, pleased and impressed so far, as I have been with CSX, Rapid Transit, and Great Western. There's some little ticky-tack things about these sims. Like, I was bitching about the speed limits going up and down and that sort of thing. But that's ticky-tack stuff. As an overall experience, I think these are fantastic. So we'll go through this yard. I feel like, yeah, tanking on frame rate. As to be expected. That's all directly above us there. That's all live track, so doesn't surprise me at all. We're in high 20s, low 30s. I'll take it. You know, it's all I need to do is think back to a time when I used to dream about high 20s, low 30s, and all of a sudden it makes it so it doesn't bother me at all. I know, like everybody, I would love to be at 120 FPS all the time. 2.5 miles, 15 miles an hour. Let's get ready for that. Yeah, I would love to be at 120 FPS all the time. I'm sure a lot of people would. It's like anything else. Like that old joke from Motorsport. How fast do you want to go? Well, what's your budget? How fast can you afford to go? I've also noticed on a lot of these scenarios, I get dinged for showing up early, and I guess that makes sense, but it's also, so now we're going under the river. We went over a river up here, but now I think we're going under the river. Yeah. Yeah, like anything in life, how good you want the system to be is determined by your budget. And I believe we're going downhill right now because we're going down under the river, and I'm pretty sure we're going to come up a little bit. So as far as getting dinged for getting in early, yeah, we're climbing again. Uh, Made sense. It makes sense when you think about keeping a schedule, keeping a timetable. But there's another part of me that's like, well, come on, man, I'm early. Isn't that a good thing? But the problem is, uh, in logistics, no, it's not a good thing because now we need to figure out where to put you. You're not supposed to be here yet. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and slow down to 15 now. And maybe not get in quite so early. Right. While we're in a good place here, I'm going to have a sip of my tea. Right. Said 25 minutes for this. Seems like we're going a little bit longer than that, which is fine. So, okay, what do we got? Half a mile? Well, we've got a full mile, and yeah. No, I think we're going to be okay. We've got a full mile in, well, 3/4 of a mile in 3 minutes. Okay, it's actually going to be a little tighter than I thought. We had all that extra time when we were going 60, but we're not going 60 now, so. Well, that'd be funny to be, for all that speeding, to still be late. Right. And this is that climb back up from under the river that we're making right now. Well, it was steeper just a bit ago. It was 1.5. We're kind of leveling off now. Right. 2 minutes. About a half a mile. Yeah, we're going to be late. A little bit late. That's crazy. This game is so finite, I guess, accurate as far as the timing of the schedules and the timing and the distance between stops and what time they want you to get there, how they want you to time it, and how you end up being just seconds ahead or behind. And I don't know how accurate that is to the real schedules that these scenarios are based on. Certainly seem accurate. Also, I can see how this would make you crazy if you were a train driver. I can see how this would really really work your nerves. trying to meet these schedules. Don't speed, but don't ever be late. Right. 30 seconds. Well, I mean, we're going to be at the platform. We're just not going to be stopped. Alright, let me get my brake ready here. I thought I'd turn that off. The a big marker on the track. I don't know if these are independent for each DLC or if there's one master setting for all of them. But I thought I'd turned off the colored boxes on the track. Not a big deal either way. I can keep messing with it. Right. Yeah, I do need this marker. I don't know where on the platform they want us to stop accurately enough yet. I know there are markers on the platforms. I know there are different places that, like in real life, you'll see markers that have various numbers on them that I assume indicate for this locomotive with this many of this type of coach, stop here, that sort of thing. But I haven't spent enough time on this sim to be that good yet. Someday, set the reverser to neutral. So we do climb down from the train to complete this duty. Go out here. Close the door. Check complete. There we go. Right. Okay, cool. I'm going to hop out to that options menu and take a look at two things. One is the dialogue and the voiceover. See if there's an on-off for that, and also see if I need to reset the right. So if I go to options, no, that's advanced settings. Notifications on. We can derail at a junction. That on. These are the two that I turned off, and these are the ones that I brought up onto the HUD. Scenario marker, I believe, is the next one. This shows us what our next stop is. Yeah, stop marker. I think maybe it's that one right there. Right, and then the other one is audio. Looks like it's all there. Right, we'll figure it out. Folks, thanks for stopping by to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Train Sim World. Thanks for joining us for NEC Northeast Corridor DLC, and we will see you next time. Take care now.